Annalieza Landa, and I am in the United Kingdom.
And I'm John Verrico, and I'm in the United States.
And united, we are
the show of values.
Saving the world with values.
One leader at a time. It's great to be back. I'm so excited. This is our second show. And before we get really into this, I want to give an update because on our first episode, we talked about the M&Ms and the spokes candies that got put on hold because of all the controversy about them. They are already back. So there's a new series of commercials out and the spokes candies are out there. And
yay! Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I did think it was a bit of an extreme reaction on Mars's part. But who knows? I'd like to think we could take the credit for that. But what could be better than chocolate? Well, hearing from you, of course. I'm pleased to report that since the first episode, we've received some great feedback, and I'd like to welcome actually new listeners and viewers and subscribers from the USA, the UK. What do I say then? I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. The Netherlands, Mexico, and Croatia as well.
That's amazing. Worldwide reach already.
Yeah, so I understand you've received some feedback from some of your contacts, haven't you, John?
I did. Christine Carlson-Wolf reached out to me and she said, 3.5 minutes in and I am hooked. Hearing folks discuss how to uphold personal values in business is like a salve to my weary heart.
And I got a message from Ivana who said that I was drawn from the first minute. You guys made the subject light, fun, and entertaining while keeping things relevant and knowledgeable. It's so refreshing to see and hear you two making this subject appealing.
Yes. It's one of those topics that people tend to mix things up. They'll confuse values and ethics and morality, and they'll use those terms interchangeably. So are values and morality the same thing?
Values are very personal to us. Values are intrinsic. Yeah, our value system is what matters to us personally. And whereas morals is really an external code of what we accept as right and wrong, and morals and ethics as well. They're another two. I'm going to invite my friend Buddy Thornton, who has written 2 books on this subject: The Slippery Slope, the Contemporary Society Through the Lens of Applied Ethics is his first book, and the second book is Contemporary Society Through the Lens of Applied Morals, and he makes the distinction between the two. So our values are personal to us, but our morals are that code of right and wrong.
So when does a value have no value?
I basically interpret any value that diminishes somebody else as being a negative value. We have to recognize that there are values that don't add to people.
They don't add value.
They don't add value. Exactly.
Have you checked your filter system lately?
Everything that happens either helps us to advance our values or to protect or defend our values. And all of those, all the actions that we take, all of the behaviors that we experience, all of the environments that we encounter, we choose those things based on how they appeal to our values. And that goes down to even, the products we buy.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we filter everything through our values. Yeah.
Our values
are our filter system.
Most people are trying to sell you things because they're appealing to some inner core value of yours that is going to make this thing attractive to you.
Like the Super Bowl ads, for example.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a great example. they're such a popular thing. Sometimes the Super Bowl ads are even more important than the football game itself.
Yeah. So, I mean, American football is growing here in the UK to the extent that next year we're going to be starting our own UK American Football League. So tell me, explain the culture of American football and particularly the Super Bowl and what the Super Bowl means to Americans and how it adds value.
People are drawn to that because it is uniquely American, and we really kind of take it to heart. And it is absolutely huge. I mean, 119 million people watched the Super Bowl this year. That is just absolutely phenomenal. And they do things. They'll get together. They'll have Super Bowl parties. They'll have watching parties. The chicken wing industry practically sells out for Super Bowl Sunday because everybody has to have wings and pizza. And of course, there's the tailgating activity, which is...
So tell me about that tailgating in the context of the Super Bowl, because that's one of the things that the UKFL mentioned. We're going to go the whole hog and we're going to have tailgating. And I'm thinking, what is tailgating? It can't be what I think it means normally.
So typically when you go to a sporting event, you go to the arena, you drive your vehicle there, and you're in the parking lot, and it's usually way before the game is about to start. And so you've got tons of activity because you want to get good parking space, right? And you want to get in. And this is before you had all sign seats too, but it started this way. So people would gather in the parking lot. They would lift the, I think you call it the boot. We call it the trunk. Or in the days of station wagons and SUVs and all of that, they open the back up and drop the tailgate, and they would break out refreshments. Maybe pull out a little barbecue grill and fire up and start cooking hamburgers and hot dogs and sharing them with the people around them. That's what a tailgate party is. It's this little mini social activity pre-game.
Excellent. And tell me, how friendly is the competition? Of course, we've got English football, English soccer. That's our national game. English soccer fans don't have a great reputation. There is an element, unfortunately, of aggression between rival fans. So does that ever appear in American football?
Fans can be vicious to each other when it's the opposite team. But it's like any other kind of a polarizing activity. And it does have its extremes.
Yeah.
And people are known to, if their team loses, they will go out and rampage in the community and turn cars over and burn buildings and just absolute insanity. But at the same time, sometimes the people whose team won will get just as crazy and they'll go out and celebrate, and they're so wild and hyped up that they'll start turning over cars and starting fires. So you don't really know if they're angry or if they're happy.
Don't go away. We'll be back after the... No, just kidding.
Tell me then about the ads and the culture of the ads and how the ads have become so popular.
All of these commercial enterprises out there, they are going to get in front of 119 million people, right? So they want to put their best foot forward. And traditionally, over the years, the Super Bowl has been the pinnacle opportunity to get in front of the most people and have the most impact. So they're spending $7 million to put a 30-second commercial up there.
It's not $7 million to make the commercial. This is $7 million to book the commercial.
Just to book the commercial. Just to put it on the air for that 30 seconds. All the production stuff, and most of these are very celebrity heavy to get their product out there. So because of that, they tend to be more creative than your average, television ad. And so they have become an enormous attraction for people to see. What are they going to come up with next?
So let's talk then about the values of the consumer. Do you think they're trying to pander to the values of the American consumer? In which case, what are those values? Are they the values of the American nation?
That's Really good question. So I don't think they're trying to change your opinion of the world. I think you're trying to change your opinion of a product and how it will appeal to your values. What they're appealing to are values we place on things like companionship. And so there was a commercial, it was the Budweiser, "This Bud's for You" commercial. And the thing starts and people are carrying a 6-pack, and as they're walking past another person, they're handing them a beer out of the 6-pack. And then somebody else is taking it and moving on to somebody else, and they're handing somebody else, and all walks of life. And it's all about sharing. And so it's a reminder that no matter who you are, what you do, you're only 6 degrees of separation away from each other, right? And so why not use that 6-pack? You're only a 6-pack away from each other, and you can share. And there's images throughout this entire commercial of people sharing.
So talking about beer commercials then, I really liked the Boston Lager commercial for Samuel Adams. Samuel Adams is brighter. Okay. And the server says, a brighter Boston, imagine a brighter Boston. And so the chap goes into this kind of reverie, imagining this brighter Boston. He's almost there in a sort of like fantasy. And everybody's being really nice to each other. So you've got two women not arguing over a parking space, but actually insisting that each other takes the parking space. No, you have it. No, I insist. You have it. Then you're at a football game.
It's like so British, actually. The last time I was there, they were very polite. No, after you. No, after you.
It's nice that you have that memory. No, it's true. And you've got a Boston guy hugging a New Yorker, saying, "We love New Yorkers." And then there are two criminals opening a boot, and one of them says, "Dump them." And of course, you kind of imagine a body's going to come out of it, but instead there's like a whole bag of cans, and the really biggest, most menacing, threatening one says, "Recycle. It's up to us all to play a part." He dumps them all in the recycling bin, and then spots the chap walking by with a can and says, "Hey, when you're done with that, you can put that in here. We've only got one planet, right?" And I thought it was just such a clever, subtle way to create a message, to put a message out. And then that goes straight into, and I'm going to have to remind myself of the name of this chap because I didn't know his name and I had to look it up. It was Kevin Garnett, who is actually the Boston Celtics legend. Yeah. So he is promoting a book in a bookstore. So you go from the trash, and now he's promoting this book called "Don't Talk Trash, Spread Love." He says, "Why talk trash when you can spread love?" And there's a close-up on his lips as he's blowing kisses, and is repeating, "Spread love, spread love, spread love." And I just thought it was just so cool. But then, of course, the guy snaps out when the server says, "Hey, your card's been rejected." And he said, "Oh, I'll just have to call my mum." And he reaches for the phone and she slaps it down. Like, you're not using my phone. You're not using this phone. And then he leaves the shop. So I just thought it was a lovely portrayal of values, of people being respectful, of basically saying, it wouldn't be lovely if you could drink a lager and magically transform your environment so that everybody is kind and respectful towards one another and thinking about their environment and having respect for their environment, and not talking trash and spreading more love.
But I have to say, my favorite commercial was the T-Mobile commercial with the actor Bradley Cooper and his mom.
Now, so anything starring Bradley Cooper gets my vote.
I have to admit, I'm not really familiar with this guy.
No? Oh, wow. So you've not watched Limitless or The Silver Linings Playbook or with Jennifer Aniston, who was in Horrible Bosses. I'm sure that was the name of the movie. Yeah,
you're obviously a fan of Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Bradley Cooper.
Well, I am now too, and here's why. Because of this commercial. The premise of this was that T-Mobile, the cell phone company, was shooting a commercial using Bradley Cooper, and they wanted to have his mom in the commercial with him. So the commercial is basically a compilation of outtakes of him and his mom just flubbing their lines and doing all kinds of having little banter together. And it was such great family appeal. And she made like really typical mom kind of remarks, you know. And it's obvious that she doesn't really understand everything that her son does. It reminded me of my mother. You know, when I was in the Navy, I had gone to the Pentagon for a lunch meeting. And for years after that, my mother swore I was stationed at the Pentagon. And that was the only time I was there. And so, you know, it took her years. And it's funny because so many years later, I was actually stationed at the Pentagon. And by that time, she had finally realized that I didn't work there. So it was, but anyway, I mean, it's typical mom kind of stuff, right? And so at one point, you know, Bradley expresses a little bit of frustration because he keeps trying to help his mom get her lines right and stuff. And he goes, I think I know what I'm doing, Mom. I was nominated 9 times. And she says, yeah, but you never won, honey. It's just so typical. I just loved it. I thought it was so cool. Now, was the commercial successful to make me want to go out and get T-Mobile? No. Have I become a fan of T-Mobile? No. But I found myself liking the actor Bradley Cooper because of his relationship with his mom. So, you know.
Yeah, I loved it when she said, you look like a flamingo. And don't smile.
Yes, he's wearing the pink shirt.
Don't smile. You look like a clam.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. Made me miss my mum. Yeah, I kind of like it. I even have my mum back to say embarrassing things like that to me.
Yeah, and my mom was the same way. So, and you know, I think the things that we remember are the ones that appeal to us in some way, shape, or form, right? Even if they made us just laugh, because sometimes that's all we need is just that little laugh, and laughter can be actually a value, right?
Well, that's value of humor. Humor is a value.
Yes, it is. There we go. And humor brings us joy, which is also a value.
Exactly.
I got to just mention just the one little brief one that was that targeted images of violence.
Right.
And
okay.
people, you know, fighting against each other and arguing. And it was an appeal to love Jesus. And it was a reminder that Jesus loved the people we hate. That was the slogan. Jesus loves us no matter what. And appealing to, again, whether you're religious or not, the companionship, the camaraderie, and getting along with others.
So many ads and so many values and so little time.
Oh, I know. And we can talk about this literally all day.
Moving on then.
Yeah.
Drum roll.
It is time for Versus.
Okay.
We'd like you to vote for your favorite, whether it's Annalieza's story or mine. Just saying, you know. But vote for us. Go on to Linktree, our Linktree, which is www.linktr.ee/ Show of Values, and send us a message and tell us who had the wackiest story. So, Annalieza, you go first.
Yeah, you know, it was tough considering we'd agreed that Versus this week was going to be based on the Super Bowl ads. I have decided to plump for the Tubi. Is it Tubi? Is that how you pronounce it? Or is it Tubi?
Yes, the TV station.
Yeah. Okay, with the rabbits. The giant rabbits. It was disturbing. But also very compelling because I was watching it and thinking, wow, these rabbits are really malevolent. They're horrible rabbits.
Oh,
You know,
you need to elaborate on this. Tell us the story.
Well, there isn't really much of a story. So you just see people going about their business, studying at a desk, in the classroom, in their cars, being dragged away, being dragged off by these giant rabbits. And not in a gentle way, but dragged by their legs on the floor. You see kids being carried on their shoulders. You see.
I'm just slipping into Monty Python. The big nasty teeth.
Yeah, well, they're just kind of like, they look cute, but they're just horrible. They're grabbing people out of their cars. So you just get this scene where you have a traffic jam, all these rabbits pulling people out of their cars, and then they start throwing them down holes. And kicking them. Literally, like one guy gets kicked down this hole, and then it turns out to be a movie rabbit hole.
Oh.
And yeah,
was it a hair-raising experience?
They're now surrounded by television screens, playing series and films, etc. And the punchline is find rabbit holes you didn't know you were looking for.
Oh my God. It sounds like a hair-raising experience. But I have to admit, my wife and I have fallen down that Tubi rabbit hole.
Really?
Because we'll find like an old movie or something and we'll watch it. We want to go do something, the laundry, dinner, whatever, but we're glued now.
I don't know why they had to make these rabbits so scary, disturbing. It's just so dark. The music, the background music that they play is just so dark and ominous, and the whole thing, it feels like a horror movie. And then you get this punchline with people being thrown down this rabbit hole and looking, faces full of delight, that they're in there. And I must have watched it about 6 times, because it's so
you fell down. You fell down the rabbit hole.
I did fall down the rabbit hole. I'm hopping mad.
Oh.
Yeah, because boom boom. Because I'm kind of thinking, why am I watching it again? Why? Why is this so compelling? It's so short, it's so simple, there isn't much of a storyline, and yet it grabs you. So I think there has to be some serious psychological research on that one.
Giant killer rabbit.
Yeah, that's all, folks. So, John, it's your turn then. What have you got?
I had a hard time choosing where I wanted to go with this week's wacky story, because there were so many. There was that cute commercial with the Doritos, where you get the rapper Jack Harlow, who is fascinated by the triangle shape of the Dorito chips. And there was a teaser that came out before the commercial actually aired, the full commercial, but the teaser had, the rapper, being chased by the paparazzi getting into his car. And, one of the paparazzi yells, "Is there any truth to the love triangle?" And Jack Harlow just looks at the chip and goes, "Maybe." But ultimately, where I had to go was back to the M&Ms.
Right, okay.
Because
after all of that, you're not choosing Doritos.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not choosing Doritos. My wacky story for the week.
If I'd have known you were going to do two, I'd have talked about Ben Affleck and his Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, you want to talk about Ben Affleck? I'll let you talk about Ben Affleck. You can wipe a little drool off your chin. And...
No, it's okay. It's fine. No, I'm not going to do it now.
The Doritos is not my contender. My contender for this week is M&Ms. And so during all of this hullabaloo over the M&Ms, where Mars pulled the M&Ms as their, they put them on pause at bringing their spokes candies, and they temporarily put in a replacement. And it was the comedian Maya Rudolph, known from Saturday Night Live's TV show. And so she popped on. She's named officially as the Mars Chief of Fun, the M&M Chief of Fun. And Mars, the M&M said, we believe that the power of fun is to bring people together. And so they put Maya Rudolph in as a temporary spokesperson. And it was really, she got up there and said that she was going to change M&Ms to Ma and Ya. So it's her name, Maya.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, come on, really? But this opened up the whole story of the M&Ms once again. One of the things that got me, and I had not realized this when we first talked about this story, we talked about Tucker Carlson getting all in an uproar because the green M&M was no longer in go-go boots. But no, it got worse than that, because in January, the M&M's company put out a special packaging to celebrate women, and they had, only the female M&Ms on the package. And so Tucker Carlson, again, over at Fox News, said the green has her boots back, but apparently is now a lesbian. And so this kind of controversy, the Mars company said, we just can't have this, which is why they put everything on pause and brought it all and tried to bring it all back. And they intentionally put Maya Rudolph in as a temporary fill-in because they knew it was ridiculous. And they knew that people would want the spokes candies back instead of having the M&Ms become Mayas. And so they said, we wanted to positively redirect the passion of that conversation and bring fun back into it. And now that that's done, we can get on with it and do what we're here to do. And that's create a world where everybody feels that they belong.
Yeah, I did love that the ad that she did. It was so tongue-in-cheek. Just before the spokes candies came back on the platform, to say, are we really back?
Are we really back? I believe they had the nerve to put us on pause.
Exactly. Just before that, when she was promoting her candy-covered clams. And you just saw the little red M&M appear behind with a notice saying, help.
So that's my vote for wacky this week.
So just to remind our viewers and listeners, I don't know if you're watching on YouTube, but sometimes you like to listen on audio. You'll find all the links to our podcasts on our Linktree, and the other way around, of course. If you're listening on audio, you can find us on YouTube too and get the full effect on video, and all the ways to engage. So you can connect with us by email, by voicemail at no cost to you. You just push a button. Just open your mic and leave us a message. The link takes you straight there on our Linktree. And if you've got a question about values, do ask us, and we'll give you a big shout out on the show. And don't forget to keep your comments rolling in. Let us know what you liked, what worked, maybe what didn't work so well. And remember, don't undervalue the power of values.
And don't undervalue the value of value.
See you next time.
Bye for now.